What is different this time around? Dan King from Young Voices up late with me on the Final Five, in studio with me because we have a reason, but let's talk about what's at hand here. This came down last night. Wasn't a surprise. I think people expected this. This is the greatest humanitarian crisis we're facing right now, it seems like, in Yemen. So why is the president against getting the U.S. out of there?
Yeah, 60,000 are dead. 1 million plus are in need of serious humanitarian aid. And the president, at one point, kind of seemed like he might be a non-interventionist guy, doesn't want to get entangled in what he called stupid wars. But here's the problem when a president doesn't have really a coherent philosophy behind his foreign policy. Basically, whoever's got his ear last is going to be the one shaping his policy. And in this case, it seems like it was probably one of his hawkish advisors like John Bolton.
When you look back at, I'm thinking 2004, 2008, those elections where war was a major issue. We were just getting into the Iraq war at that point. That really guided a lot of the midterms as well. Do voters think about war, do you think, these days? I mean, is this going to register for anybody? Is this an election issue for anybody?
It sure doesn't seem like it, especially when you're not seeing a lot of American troops dying, particularly in Yemen. There hasn't been a ton of deaths there on the American side of things. And there doesn't really seem to be an anti-war coalition within Congress. Sure, there's a few libertarian-leaning Republicans, your Rand Pauls, your Justin Amash's, and sure, there's some on the progressive Democrat side like AOC, but most of the centrists are pretty okay with war.
You had, when the vote came to U.S. support, which the president vetoed, you had the vote 247 to 176 in the House, 16 Republicans signed on, 54 to 46 in the Senate, 7 Republican senators signed on. But it's interesting when you look at the breakdown where you have some congressmen who are outspoken advocates for this president, Matt Gaetz of Florida for one of them, who was on the other side of the vote. It's fascinating to see where this draws the quote-unquote battle line.
Yeah, guys like Gaetz have been big fans of the president. Guys like Rand Paul are very cozy with the president. And when they agree with him, they're very vocal, and when they disagree with him, they're very vocal. But like I said at the beginning, this seems to be one of those cases where a guy like Bolton or a guy like Pompeo might have gotten his ear and kind of pushed this hawkish direction.
Mitch McConnell had said when they took the vote in the Senate that this should not be viewed, that senators shouldn't view this in a way to punish Saudi Arabia for what they did to Jamal Khashoggi, that those are viewed as two separate issues. Is that what you would believe as you look at this, that was the approach taken? I
mean, you should look at it as two separate issues. Sure, there's issues with our support for the Saudis, as you mentioned, Khashoggi, but this is an even bigger issue. This is the biggest humanitarian crisis going on right now, and the fact that the U.S. is selling weapons to the Saudis and supporting the Saudis in what has ultimately been a bloodbath of a civil war is a whole nother issue that's really, really disconcerting.
All right, we know there's no votes to override it, so the veto is likely going to stand. Okay, let's switch gears right now.